So in this first series, I'm going to be mainly talking about whether to soak your garlic seed or not, and just a couple of other tips and techniques of what I use, which I find to be successful. What I've got here is from the Garlic Seed Shop here. This is an award-winning Spanish Rosea. Here I've got quite a good amount of cloves there to plant. And then the Moulin Rouge over here is another one that caught my eye, which is a much larger bulb. That's quite comparable to getting up to your Russian garlic there almost. So once you get your order in the mail, you want to go ahead and crack open your garlic and inspect all the bulbs. You want to make sure that there's no rotten sections, funguses or molds that are starting down in the roots. And if you give each clove a bit of a push in, you'll be able to feel if it's still nice and firm and it hasn't rotted. That's a good sign. If there's any that have any kind of rot or mold or mildew, chuck them out. I've also separated the smaller ones here. We're going to take that into the kitchen and use that. And if you have chooks, why not keep all the papery little husks here? Chuck them in the nesting boxes. That's really good for controlling mites and lice with your chickens, just as a bit of a way of reusing everything. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I'm going to be planting all the seed here. I'm going to be doing a soak in seaweed solution. I have trialed this method and I do find it does produce the results. Here's some garlic that I have growing at the moment, which is powering along, looking really strong and healthy. So all of this garlic here in front has been soaked in a seaweed solution. This side over here actually was planted 2 days prior to the ones there on their left. They weren't soaked. Look, in fairness, they are planted a little bit more closely together, but I think you can definitely see the results there in the two that are growing. So the mix that I'm making up is just using roughly about half a capful here of this Charlie Carp, which is an Australian made product. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour this in. And here I've got some worm juice, which is straight from our worm farm. So I'm just going to go ahead and top up, just about maybe another 100 ml or so. I'm topping it up with a bit of rainwater here that I've collected. Give your solution a bit of a good stir around, and let's start to top up the containers that we've got here with this. Should be just a nice brown, weak tea colour. Very similar to like a weak tea is what you're looking for. Make sure they're all covered. There's no air pockets, and they're all covered, especially down here at the base. You want to make sure that's definitely covered so that can soak it all up overnight. Okay, so it's the next day. The garlic has been soaking overnight, nearly 24 hours now. Check out this for results. We've got some roots that have been sprouting here already overnight. That's excellent results. I think that's a good example there to show that this method of soaking your garlic seed prior to planting definitely is beneficial. Planting out your garlic seed is very simple. You just need to know, so the tip here points upwards, and then this part here is where the roots are going to come out. So you're going to want to make sure that you basically push it down into the soil like so. I'm just leaving the tips just slightly above the soil level, just so I know when they are sprouting, as you can see from the other ones here that I've raised about 2 weeks ago. A lot of people might ask me as well, why aren't you just planting this seed directly into the space of where it needs to grow? So look, the soil where I am going to be growing this garlic, the soil's not quite ready. It was some soil that I ended up ordering on from a landscaping place, and it just needs a little bit of time to settle. But look, I probably will end up looking at doing this method anyway, because I like the idea of knowing that I've grown these plants from seed, and then every single plant that I'm putting into the space of where it needs to grow, I'm guaranteed that I'm planting a plant rather than this unknown bulb that may rot out and then I'm going to end up with gaps underneath. So I probably will keep this same technique going year up. So that's these 2 trays here planted out now. So hopefully in a couple of days we should be starting to see a bit of action with the green tips. The shoots starting to come out of the tips here like so. After about 2 weeks, this should be the results from underneath this bulk seed tray that I've got here. You can see all the roots coming through. Probably not going to want to leave them to get tangled up too much more than that. These are pretty much ready for planting. I just thought I'd let you know, even though I'm planting the garlic seed like this with you can see the clove, which is well above soil level, that's not how I'm going to be planting it. In the next part, the next series, I'm going to show you how I'm going to be planting it. You're going to want to be coming up at least a little bit higher up on the stem here to give this plant a bit of support and structure with a bit of soil around the top. And that gives this bulb a chance to be at least a good inch beneath the soil level. That's how deep you would normally plant the clove if you were to plant it directly into this soil. Here's our 2 growing spaces. So these 2 garden beds that I have here are roughly about 16 metres long by 2 metres wide. I've ordered in some growing soil as I didn't have time when we got here on the property to look at making my own compost and soil mix. So I've just sort of, you know, invested into some really good growing soil there. One standout observation I can make on the seed that has been soaked is definitely how quickly it come up and the health and the vigor of the plants. You can see the strike rate, like it's incredible. They're all in sync, they're all in timing, all about the same height. There's none that are really delayed besides, you know, the odd one here or there. But other than that, they're really strong and healthy and ready to be planted. So the debatable topic of soaking your garlic seed or not definitely gets the thumbs up in my opinion. Well, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed watching the first part of our garlic growing series here. If you're keen to follow on and see our journey of what we're getting up to here on the farm, as I said, it's quite a new farm. We've only been on here a couple of months, but we're going to be doing a lot of other tutorials and you know, techniques of what I find successful about growing organically in a permaculture way, and you know, planting fruit trees, doing Australian bush tucker as well, and many other you know, things like raising chickens and beekeeping and all the rest of it. So yeah, if you found this content interesting, then yeah, please subscribe and keep updated for the garlic growing. It does take quite a long 9 months to pretty much be putting it in the ground and before you're harvesting. So yeah, stay tuned. Hope you're well. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.